Every single day, 16 million Americans over the age of 50 walk into a room and forget why they went there. Not occasionally, daily. They lose their car keys 3 times a week. They blank on a grandchild's name mid-sentence. They read the same paragraph 4 times and still can't recall what it said. And every single one of them thinks the same thing. This is it. This is aging. This is inevitable decline. I'm going to tell you right now that belief is not just wrong, it is dangerous, and it is costing you years of sharp cognitive function you could still have. In 15 years of clinical practice, I have watched patients in their 60s, 70s, even early 80s reverse memory decline that their neurologists had written off as irreversible. Not with experimental drugs, not with expensive treatments, with 3 specific foods that change brain chemistry within 14 to 21 days of consistent consumption. The research is published. The mechanisms are understood. But your next doctor's appointment will not cover any of this because there is no billing code for nutritional cognitive intervention. The system makes money when you stay sick, not when you get better. Subscribe to Dr. Waterling right now and hit that like button. We are working toward building this channel on one principle. Real medical knowledge that actually helps you, delivered without the institutional filter that keeps you dependent on prescriptions and office visits that solve nothing. Here is what is happening inside your skull right now if you are over 50. Your brain weighs roughly 1,400 grams, about 3 pounds. That 3 pounds consumes 20% of your total oxygen supply and 25% of your glucose. It is the most metabolically demanding organ in your body, and after age 50, it begins to shrink. Not metaphorically, literally. Brain volume decreases by approximately 5% per decade after 40, accelerating after 70. The hippocampus, the structure responsible for forming new memories and retrieving old ones, loses approximately 1 to 2% of its volume every single year. But here is what nobody tells you, that shrinkage is not inevitable. It is driven by 3 specific deficiencies that 80% of adults over 50 have right now without knowing it. The first is chronic inflammation in the brain itself, a condition called neuroinflammation. The second is oxidative stress, which means your brain cells are being damaged by unstable molecules called free radicals faster than your body can repair them. The third is a breakdown in the blood-brain barrier, the protective membrane that keeps toxins out of your neural tissue. When those 3 processes run unchecked for years, they do not just cause forgetfulness, they set the stage for dementia. Alzheimer's disease, the most common form of dementia, is now the 6th leading cause of death in the United States. It affects 6-7 million Americans. And the medical establishment treats it as a genetic inevitability that you can do nothing about until symptoms are severe enough for pharmaceutical intervention that slows progression but reverses nothing. That is a lie. Let me explain exactly what is happening at the cellular level. Your brain contains approximately 86 billion neurons. Each neuron communicates with thousands of others through connections called synapses. Memory formation happens when those synapses strengthen through repeated activation. Memory retrieval happens when the brain reactivates the same pattern of synaptic connections. This process requires 2 things: healthy neurons and efficient communication between them. Neuroinflammation attacks both. When inflammatory molecules called cytokines flood brain tissue, they damage the myelin sheath, the fatty insulation coating each neuron that allows electrical signals to travel quickly and accurately. Imagine stripping the rubber coating off an electrical wire. Signals still travel, but they are slower, weaker, prone to interference. That is what inflammation does to your neural wiring. You start experiencing that as slower recall, difficulty concentrating, and the sensation that information is there, but you cannot quite access it. Oxidative stress accelerates the damage. Free radicals are unstable molecules that steal electrons from healthy cells, damaging cellular structures in the process. Your brain generates free radicals naturally during normal metabolism, but your body produces antioxidant enzymes that neutralize them. After 50, antioxidant production drops while free radical generation stays constant or increases due to factors like stress, poor sleep, and processed food consumption. The imbalance means your neurons are under constant attack. The blood-brain barrier breakdown is the third catastrophe. This barrier is a layer of tightly packed cells lining your blood vessels in the brain. It allows nutrients and oxygen through while blocking toxins, pathogens, and inflammatory molecules. Chronic inflammation and oxidative stress damage the integrity of this barrier. It becomes leaky. Substances that should never reach your brain tissue start getting through. This triggers more inflammation, more oxidative damage, and a vicious cycle that accelerates cognitive decline. Now, here is where conventional medicine fails you completely. When you walk into a neurologist's office complaining of memory problems, what happens? They run cognitive tests. If the decline is not severe enough to qualify as dementia, they tell you it is normal aging. If it is severe, they prescribe medications like donepezil or memantine that provide modest symptomatic relief, but do absolutely nothing to address the underlying inflammation, oxidative stress, or barrier dysfunction causing the problem. Then they schedule a follow-up in 6 months to monitor your inevitable decline. At no point does anyone ask what you are eating. At no point does anyone explain that specific nutrients cross the blood-brain barrier and directly reduce inflammation, neutralize free radicals, and repair cellular damage. Why? Because there is no pharmaceutical revenue in telling you to eat differently. Your neurologist spent maybe 4 hours on nutrition in medical school, none of it focused on cognitive health. The system is not built to keep your brain healthy. It is built to manage your decline once it becomes billable. I watched this happen to a patient I will call Richard. He was 68 when he came to see me, not for memory concerns, but for routine cardiovascular follow-up. During the appointment, he mentioned that his wife had started handling their finances because he kept missing payments and losing track of bills. He said he had stopped reading books because he could not remember the plot from one chapter to the next. He had given up playing chess, something he had loved for 40 years, because he could no longer think 3 moves ahead. His neurologist had tested him, found mild cognitive impairment, and told him to return in a year. No intervention, no protocol, just wait and watch yourself decline. I asked Richard about his diet. Breakfast was black coffee and toast. Lunch was a deli sandwich, chips, and a soda. Dinner was meat, potatoes, and a vegetable, usually canned or frozen. Snacks were crackers, cookies, occasionally a banana. He consumed essentially 0 foods with meaningful anti-inflammatory or antioxidant compounds. His brain was starving for the nutrients it needed to defend itself, and nobody had ever asked what he was eating. Here is your complete nutritional intervention protocol, clinically organized, evidence-based, and designed to reduce neuroinflammation, neutralize oxidative stress, and restore blood-brain barrier integrity within 2 to 3 weeks of consistent implementation. Brain food number 1, fatty fish, specifically wild-caught salmon, mackerel, sardines, or anchovies, consumed 3 times per week minimum. The target nutrient is omega-3 fatty acids, particularly 2 forms called EPA and DHA. Your brain is 60% fat by dry weight, and DHA makes up 40% of the polyunsaturated fatty acids in your brain cell membranes. When you consume omega-3s, they incorporate directly into neuronal membranes, making them more fluid and improving the efficiency of neurotransmitter signaling. But here is the critical mechanism most people do not understand. Omega-3 fatty acids are potent anti-inflammatory agents. They reduce the production of inflammatory cytokines and increase production of specialized molecules called resolvins and protectins that actively resolve inflammation and protect neural tissue. A meta-analysis published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition analyzed data from 21 studies involving over 180,000 participants and found that higher omega-3 intake intake was associated with a 20% reduction in cognitive decline and a 30% reduction in Alzheimer's risk. Here is your specific protocol. Consume 1 serving of fatty fish, approximately 150 grams or 5 ounces, 3 times per week. If you choose salmon, wild-caught Alaskan salmon provides approximately 5 grams of combined EPA and DHA per serving. If you choose sardines, 1 tin contains roughly 5 grams. If you choose mackerel, a standard fillet provides about 3 grams. Your target is at least 2 grams of combined EPA and DHA per day. 3 servings per week of fatty fish gets you there. Preparation method matters. Do not deep fry. High heat frying oxidizes the omega-3s, turning them from anti-inflammatory to pro-inflammatory. Instead, bake at 180 degrees Celsius, 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 to 20 minutes, or poach gently in simmering water with lemon and herbs for 10 to 12 minutes. You can also eat sardines or mackerel straight from the tin if they are packed in water or olive oil, not soybean oil. Brain food number 2, blueberries. Consumed 1 cup, approximately 150 grams, every single day. Blueberries contain compounds called anthocyanins, the pigments that give them their dark blue color. Anthocyanins are among the most powerful antioxidants found in any food. When you consume blueberries, anthocyanins cross the blood-brain barrier and accumulate in brain regions involved in learning and memory, particularly the hippocampus. Here is what happens at the cellular level. Anthocyanins neutralize free radicals before they can damage neuronal DNA, proteins, and lipid membranes. They also activate a genetic pathway called NRF2, which increases your body's production of its own antioxidant enzymes, including glutathione peroxidase and superoxide dismutase. This means blueberries do not just provide temporary antioxidant protection, they upregulate your brain's endogenous defense systems. The clinical evidence is remarkable. A study published in the Annals of Neurology followed 16,000 women over 70 for more than a decade and found that those who consumed the most blueberries and strawberries experienced cognitive aging that was 5 years slower than those who consume the least. Another controlled trial published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry gave older adults with mild cognitive impairment 1 cup of blueberry juice daily for 12 weeks and found significant improvements in memory performance and brain activation patterns on functional MRI scans. Your protocol: consume 1 cup of blueberries every morning. Fresh is ideal. Frozen is nearly equivalent because blueberries are typically frozen within hours of harvest, preserving anthocyanin content. Eat them plain, add them to oatmeal, blend them into a smoothie with unsweetened yogurt, or mix them into unsweetened Greek yogurt with a small handful of walnuts. Do not cook them into muffins or pies where high heat and added sugar reduce their beneficial effects. Raw or minimally processed is the rule. Brain food number 3, extra virgin olive oil. Consume 2 to 3 tablespoons, approximately 30 to 45 milliliters every single day. Real extra virgin olive oil contains a compound called oleocanthal that has the same anti-inflammatory mechanism of action as ibuprofen. It inhibits the COX enzymes that produce inflammatory prostaglandins, but unlike ibuprofen, oleocanthal has no gastrointestinal side effects and provides additional benefits through other polyphenols, including hydroxytyrosol and oleuropein. These polyphenols protect the blood-brain barrier. They strengthen the tight junctions between the cells, lining your brain's blood vessels, reducing permeability and preventing inflammatory molecules from entering brain tissue. They also stimulate autophagy, the process by which cells break down and recycle damaged components. In the brain, enhanced autophagy means faster clearance of toxic protein aggregates, including beta amyloid, the protein that accumulates in Alzheimer's disease. The research is compelling. A study published in JAMA Internal Medicine followed over 92,000 people for 28 years and found that those who consumed more than half a tablespoon of olive oil daily had a 29% lower risk of dying from neurodegenerative disease compared to those who rarely or never consumed olive oil. Another study in the journal Nutrients found that older adults who consumed a Mediterranean diet high in extra virgin olive oil showed better cognitive performance and slower rates of cognitive decline over 3 years. Here is your protocol. Consume 2 to 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil daily. Use it as your primary cooking fat for low to medium heat cooking. Drizzle it over vegetables after cooking. Use it as a salad dressing base with lemon juice and herbs. Or simply take 1 tablespoon straight in the morning and another in the evening. Quality matters critically. You need real extra virgin olive oil, not the refined, adulterated products that dominate grocery store shelves. How to identify real olive oil? Check the harvest date, not just the best buy date. Real extra virgin olive oil should have a harvest date within the past 12 to 18 months. Look for dark glass bottles or tins, never clear plastic. Real olive oil degrades when exposed to light and oxygen. Look for single origin designation, meaning it comes from one country or region, ideally Greece, Italy, Spain, or California. Avoid bottles that just say packed in Italy, which often means a blend of oils from multiple countries of unknown quality, and taste it. Real extra virgin olive oil should have a peppery, slightly bitter bite at the back of your throat. If it tastes bland or greasy, it is refined or fake. Now, here is your complete daily implementation schedule. Morning. 1 cup of blueberries with breakfast. Add 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil to your eggs, drizzle it over avocado toast, or mix it into oatmeal with the blueberries. 3 mornings per week include a serving of fatty fish. Smoked salmon on whole grain toast with olive oil works perfectly. Lunch and dinner, use extra virgin olive oil for cooking vegetables or as a dressing. On the 4 days per week when you are not eating fatty fish at breakfast, include a serving at lunch or dinner. A simple preparation: bake salmon with lemon and herbs. Serve it over leafy greens dressed with olive oil and vinegar, with a side of roasted vegetables. Evening. If you have not reached your 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil through cooking and dressing, take 1 tablespoon straight before bed. This is not complicated. This is not expensive. Frozen wild-caught salmon costs roughly $8 to $12 per pound. 1 pound provides 3 servings. Blueberries cost approximately $4 to $6 per pound, and 1 pound is about 3 cups. A bottle of quality extra virgin olive oil costs $15 to $25 and lasts 2 to 3 weeks at the recommended consumption rate. You are looking at roughly $60 to $80 per month to implement this complete protocol. Let me tell you what happened with Richard. I gave him this exact protocol. 3 servings of fatty fish per week. 1 cup of blueberries daily, 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil daily. I saw him again after 8 weeks. He reported that within the first 2 weeks, he noticed he was losing his keys less frequently. By week 4, he had started reading again and could follow the plots. By week 8, he had resumed playing chess online and was winning games. His wife reported that he was handling finances again without errors. Were those changes measurable on a brain scan? No. Did they represent reversal of structural brain atrophy? Probably not in just 8 weeks. But they represented functional improvement that mattered enormously to his quality of life. And the mechanisms are real. Reduced inflammation, reduced oxidative stress, restored blood-brain barrier integrity. These are not speculative benefits. These are documented physiological effects of the compounds in these 3 foods. Now, some critical warnings. If you are taking blood thinners like warfarin or apixaban, omega-3 fatty acids have mild blood thinning effects. Do not start consuming large amounts of fatty fish without discussing it with your prescribing physician. Your medication dosage may need adjustment. If you have a known fish allergy, obviously fatty fish is not an option for you. You can obtain omega-3s from algae-based supplements which provide DHA without fish protein. If you are diabetic and taking medication, blueberries are relatively low glycemic but still contain natural sugars. Monitor your blood glucose response response and discuss any dietary changes with your physician. And if you are on any medications metabolized by the liver, particularly statins or blood pressure medications, the polyphenols in olive oil can affect drug metabolism. This is not necessarily dangerous, but it means your medications may become more potent, potentially requiring dosage adjustments. Here's what I need you to understand. Your memory is not failing because you are old. It is failing because your brain is inflamed, oxidized, and starved of the specific nutrients it needs to defend and repair itself. The medical system will not tell you this because there is no profit in it. Neurologists do not get paid to teach you about anthocyanins and oleocanthal. They get paid to prescribe medications and order imaging studies. You are not helpless in front of your own biology. Your brain is not inevitably declining. It is responding to the environment you are giving it. And when you change that environment by providing the specific anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and barrier protective compounds it needs, it responds. Not in years, in weeks. How old are you? Write it in the comments. I want to see which age group makes up the majority of our viewers, because it will directly shape what I cover in future videos. If this video helped you, send it to someone you care about, a parent, a friend. Someone who keeps saying their memory is not what it used to be. You may have just given them a real chance to reclaim cognitive function they thought was gone forever. Subscribe to Dr. Waterling. Hit that like button. We are building this channel on one principle: real medical information that empowers you to take control of your health without waiting for a system that profits from your decline. Your memory is not a verdict. It is a signal, and now you know exactly how to respond to it.